Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship here with another Velocity Banking review on a Friday night. I officially label this as the best Friday night study group ever. I mean, think about it. Let's say when you were in college or you were a teenager and you came to one of these study sessions and you did these spreadsheets over and over again. Probably like age 24, 25, you'd have like 7 paid off properties, and you'd be like, "I don't know what to do. Maybe I need to create a YouTube channel where I just do spreadsheets over and over again." Kinda like what I'm doing right now. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Velocity Banking review. So what is Velocity Banking? Well, according to ChatGPT, um, it's like being the Hulk with your banking, okay? ChatGPT said in the voice of the Hulk that regular banking is like being Bruce Banner and velocity banking is like being the Hulk, and we're gonna review what that means. So, yes, velocity banking. So, what is it? It's a debt payoff strategy, throwing all of your money to debt using something called a line of credit. And just first step to it is creating a budget and then listing all your debts, right? So income, expenses, leftover savings, and then in the expense breakdown, you list every single debt that you have, right? So in this case, it'd be 7 credit cards, an auto loan, a mortgage, and then your personal expenses that you always have to pay for. So that's 2,100 a month, and you could see that in this case, we only have $1 left in savings, right? $1 left. That's crazy. $1 left. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be the Hulk today. Hulk smash, legendary smash, according to ChatGPT acting as the Hulk. So how do we become the Hulk? Well, we're gonna do something that a lot of people are afraid to do, which is not save money. So you see this zero right here. Whoopsie, what happened here? Zero in the savings, right? Let me dramatically zoom in. You go from 1 to 0. Now that's really scary, right? And we're gonna have this number called cash flow that kind of looks like savings, but it kind of doesn't. So how does this differ from this? Well, when you look at my checking account, if I did have a dollar here, it would say a dollar. But the whole idea is that we're gonna treat money in a checking or savings account like a hot potato, and then we're gonna try to get rid of it and put it into debt as soon as possible. So as you can see right here, 19 grand comes in. I'm just treating the 19 grand as if it's casual and normal, but 19 grand comes in and then it just goes right out. Right, it just goes right out. And so where it goes is it goes into something called a line of credit. And so if you're new to the channel, you might be asking, like, what is a line of credit? Well, a line of credit is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. So if you've heard of a credit card, that's a line of credit, right? You can swipe, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. And that's what we're going to do today using something called a line of credit, right? So if you're new to the channel, I have tons and tons of lines of credit, right? Thanos here, I thought that was me when I got my $280,000 home equity line of credit, and then later on, I got a $373,500 home equity line of credit. So, yeah. So, what does that mean? Well, this basically means that I can click a button on the bank's website and they'll dump up to $373,000 into my checking account, right? That's literally what this home equity line of credit means. They charge me a 8.5% interest rate. And this isn't the only line of credit I have. So if you take a look here at all the lines of credit that I have, all of them, I have up to $739,000 in lines of credit, which literally makes me the top 0.01% in terms of credit holders. I don't know if that's the right word. Um, Creditees, I don't know, but top 0.01%. In fact, let me go ahead and type into Chat GPT something. Yeah, let me just do this. I'm currently doing a velocity banking demonstration on YouTube right now, and I'm telling the audience I have over 739K in limits of lines of credit. Can you describe how this feels like to have so much credit in the voice of Thanos. Okay, let's see what ChatGPT says. Oh, they've got the purple. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, did they take away the voice? Oh, they have it right here now.
Of course, here's
Oh, what? Ah, they changed ChatGPT.
of course, here's how Thanos might put it. I look upon these lines of credit and I feel inevitable. To command such vast resources, 739,000 in limits, is not merely wealth, it is power. Power to bend the flow of cash, to erase debts like dust in the wind, to shift the balance of finance as I choose. Others struggle for scraps of approval from banks, while I wield abundance as if it were the infinity gauntlet itself. With each dollar of credit, I do not feel burdened. I feel balanced, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Want me?
So perfectly balanced. And I guess the our definition of perfectly balanced is when we have $0 in our checking or savings, right? Money comes in and then we balance it by money going out into the line of credit. Yep, that's how I feel. That's me. And I gotta do that that sound that the record going you know what I mean? If you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, $739,000 in lines of credit. And how do you get that? Well, it's really easy. You just got to know the secret to what the banks are looking for and who they lend to, and they don't lend money to people who need it. Okay, so the way that I got all these lines of credit, 739,000, is that I always went to a bank when I didn't need money. I literally went to banks when I didn't need money. Oh man, I'm getting an alarm going off. Give me one moment. I'll be right back. But this will be instant for you. Okay, I am back. What am I talking about? Or what was I talking about? Probably something about $739,000 in lines of credit. Oh yeah, banks don't lend money to people who need it. And so that's how you get credit. And so once upon a time, um, you know, when you're doing your thing, I'll say that, and making money, the bank knows when you don't need it, right? So if they see like, hey, you entered in that you have $100,000 of income or more and you have no debt, that's when you start getting debt offers. And the way that they get you is that uh, low payments over a long period of time seems like a good deal, and that's how all finance works, right? So low payments over a low period of time. And then once you have too many debts that you have, it's kind of like the bank is like a vampire. So it's like every single debt is like the bank putting their fangs into your blood. And then when you realize you don't have any more blood, that's when they stop offering you debt, right? So that's how you get lines of credit is just have lots of fresh blood for for the bank, right? Lots and lots of fresh blood. Yeah, and so for this demonstration, we're going to assume that we have $175,000 line of credit, free and clear. Now, because here you literally have no financial or economic blood, there's nothing for the bank to take, right? So the bank, okay, cannot they can't like lend to you. But if we knew this strategy before, right? Before we started taking on debt like I did, I remember when I first learned the strategy when I only made over 20,000 a year, I was like, why am I learning this? And then when it was the right moment, that's when I striked. I don't even know. Striked first. Man, I'm getting confused now. I striked first and I striked hard. I think that's how you say it, right? Once I got these lines of credit. Yeah, but so kind of think of it like this is that basically this could be your lifesaver if you'd known this strategy before. But a lot of people, they want to learn about this after they screwed up. I'll say it that way, right? But, what if you did have a line of credit free and clear? This would be an amazing lifesaver. So you would have about, I don't know, 7 credit cards. And how do we know which debts to move into the line of credit? Well, we're going to use something called the cash flow index. Basic formula is balance divided by payment, right? That's the formula. Okay, so 270,000 divided by this payment gives you this number, and then it's basically a ranking system. So what you do is you take these low ranking ones. What does the low ranking numbers mean? It basically means that you pay off when you pay off your debt, you get a bang for your buck. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So you get a lot of bang for your buck for paying off the debt. And so what we're gonna do is pay it off in this order, okay? Because if we pay off, let's say, the mortgage first, which has a big number, that means we have to give someone $270,000 just to get $1,100 back in our cash flow. Wouldn't it be better just to give somebody 35 grand to get $1,100 back in our cash flow? So let's take the low ranking fruit and pay them off quickly. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. And usually, this, if you don't want to do the cash flow index, usually you could kind of figure it out by just tackling on the high interest rate credit cards and the buy now pay laters, right? So that's $127,000 in lines of credit. I'm sorry, not lines of credit, in debt that we're going to move into the line of credit. And this is the part that's so shocking to people that I've literally shown to other people, and then they don't want to like learn. It's crazy, right? So what is the shocking part? Well, when we just simply move the debt, these payments go to zero. And now we literally turn this $1 into 41.93.50, right? So $1 into 41.93.50. And I literally did not make more money, right? Same guy, different way of banking. Because the income is the same. 78, 50, 24. And I literally show people this, and then what happens is they look at this, and they get scared and run away sometimes. One time I showed this to someone, and just that person just ran away, and I was like, "What's going on?" And later on, the person emailed me saying that declared bankruptcy, which is weird. It's like, whoa, yeah, like really, like I don't think like bankruptcy, and I actually agree with Dave Ramsey. It should be your very, very, very last option, right? And I think if I don't know how to explain this, but for most people, I think they kind of think about it too easily without trying to untangle the webs in their personal finances, right? And I'm not making fun of anybody. I mean, I used to make 20,000 a year, and I was just really desperate for solutions. That's why I learned a lot of like all this at a point where it wasn't immediately applicable to me. And I was like, how am I gonna get through this? $400 a month rent. I could barely afford anything. And people abandoned me when I needed them, which is kind of like a memory you don't want to have, but I have that memory. And I think a lot of people do, right? That's why like I never look down upon people for struggling. And sometimes you see like homeless people, right? Like asking for food. I remember I was near Chipotle, right? Once upon a time. This is a random story time. And you might say, why do I just go off on random stories and tangents? Well, let me go ahead and flex and tell you why, because I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. So I've kind of earned the right to tell random stories and not really. Well, I don't want to say I don't care, which I kind of do, but I just kind of tell random stories and say, oh, why do I just go off on tangents? And then I just financially flex that I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. But back to my point. My point is that I was like in a public shopping center, and there's like Chipotle right there. And there was I don't know if they were homeless, but they were asking for like food or something like that. Like this couple with their child, and the child was like next to Chipotle. They were all next to Chipotle, and this girl was like, "Yeah, oh, I love the honey chicken." I remember this. I saw it on TikTok. So it's really weird how in America we have like homeless people with the most technologically advanced like gadgets, but we can't take care of like basic necessities anymore. It's weird how that works. So I went in and I just bought them all Chipotle. And I don't like look down upon people at begging or asking for help, because I'm pretty sure that when I did that, nobody helped me, and it's like they abandoned me. It's like so I kind of had that painful memory of like, why'd people do that to me? So even if they're quote scamming me or hustling, at least they're putting in the work. I mean, really, like, what's the difference between like cold calling someone for their real estate property and then just asking for food? Like, it's almost the same skill. You know what I mean? Anyways, enough of a random tangent. But I bought like four people Chipotle that day, and I was like, well, it's at least it's not McDonald's. You know what I mean? Yeah. Why am I rambling? But yes, well, I know I'm rambling because I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. But anyways, so let's go ahead and keep going. $1 of savings somehow turns into $4,193.50 of cash flow, and then now it's you put your paycheck into the line of credit, 7,850. You take your expenses out, and then you rinse and repeat over and over again. So now your debt's going to go down about $4,000, give or take, with some interest. And then so now let's go ahead and do this. We take the previous month's balance, previous month's interest, minus the cash flow, right? So let me just kind of go ahead and do this, and then it'll be like 4193.5. And then what we're gonna do is take the average daily balance. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do this average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate 0.075, and divide by 12, and blah 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 blah. Okay. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and then you see that in 34 months, it's all paid off, right? So less than 3 years, right? So relatively easy. I mean, look at this, paycheck in, expenses out. So, I mean, look how scared we probably were when we were Bruce Banner. But when we became the Hulk and Hulk smashed the debt, right? We smashed $127,000 in credit card debt in less than 3 years. So no big deal, right? So let's go ahead, and then this is gonna be 127K, and then how many months? It was 34 months. Yeah, but what's really sad is that, when I first came to Atlanta, um, the only time I'd ever see homeless people and people kind of like begging for change or money or food is within like the city itself, right? That was the only time I used to see um, homeless people in Atlanta. And I think because the cost of living has gotten so high, and it's essentially now became a two-tier city like a lot of America's been, right? It's like a couple years before California became California, if that makes sense. And so nowadays, like when I drive out to, like, let's say the outskirts, like the areas surrounding Atlanta where I never used to see homeless people, I see them more often like in the freeway exits, which is kind of sad. Like, Atlanta is not what it used to be. So, and usually when you see that, that usually kind of means that the city or the area itself has become emotionally cold, because when we're indifferent to, let's say, like people suffering, then it's kind of like the environment is indirectly telling you that people don't really care about each other, which is really sad. You know, it's really sad, but that's how a lot of places became. In California, it became like that too. I felt like California in the '90s um, was just a warmer, like a emotionally warmer place. Like it used to be a place where it's like, oh, we can you can come have a good time and fulfill your dream. And if you ever notice anything about my personality, you kind of notice that like I know I'm really really good at what I do, but I like to kinda show my personality like 90%, like I'm just joking around, because that's like the environment that I grew up in, and then slowly over time, it became this, it became a mess, right? Let's be honest. I mean, it really what's California good for nowadays? Good weather, good food, but everything else is super expensive, you know? Although, you just gotta know where to avoid certain places like Skid Row and stuff, but that's been true for, like, a long time too. I wonder, you never what I also wonder, when did Skid Row become Skid Row? You ever wonder that? Because, like, let's say, you know, you were back in, like, the 1800s when I don't even know when the city of Los Angeles was founded, but you were back there in the 1800s, like, what that and if you I'm pretty sure there must have been something in that environment that kind of made it what it is. And there's like a certain evolution, right? But I don't know what that would have been. But anyways, all right. So I have this loan calculator right here. We have two more loans, and what did I do this for? It should be 270. 270 at 3%. Okay. So now at month 34, again, we use the same cash flow index, 10 grand left in the loan of the car loan. So what we do is we see this loan number here, we just move into line of credit, and then we rinse and repeat over and over again, and bam, 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 bam. So that's going to be plus 10461.73, right? Oh, I added two pluses. Okay. And then what we do now is we put 0 at the auto loan to increase our cash flow. And then what we're just going to do right here is we're going to copy and paste and do 4611.91. And then we see that in 2 months, 36 months, it's all gone, right? So it's 36 months, 6 months, and then it's going to be 127 plus 23. It'll be 150K, right? So 150K. And then now it's the 30-year mortgage. So in 36 months, in 3 years, we paid off all debt except for the mortgage. And then now all we do is we can chunk it, we can directly overpay it. One of the things I like to show is like, hey, even if you use a 30% line of credit at this point, or a 12%, 8%, yeah, you'll pay more money. Like the more the higher the interest rate, you will pay more money, but it's not like the biggest deal. And then there's kind of an argument that you can still use it because if you have a tons of credit and then you don't use it, the bank shuts it down. And also, if you give the bank a little bit of money, you'll get access to a lot more credit. So I have chunked. And what does chunking mean? Just using like moving a loan into a line of credit, and then used like credit cards to do it to pay off a mortgage. Right? I did several times, and then I went from how much from Discover, like $8,000 in Discover to like 20,000 or 21. I don't remember, but yeah. Oh, my alarm went off again. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry folks, I'm back. All right, so now what was I talking about here? Basically, you could even use a 30% credit card, right? 30% credit card. It's not going to make that big of a difference. So 16 to 21 grand. Now, here's the thing that really will trip up people is because you might hear on the internet, move the whole loan into the line of credit. And if you move it into a 30% line of credit, the loan will never get paid off, or the line of credit will never get paid off, right? And if you do 7.5%, you'll end up paying more interest than with the 30% credit card if you move the whole loan into the line of credit. Got to be careful with that. Yeah, got to be careful. All right, well, that's it for today, folks. So let me just kind of do this. So $8,000. And then that's going to be 4 years. And then I'm just going to do this right here. And I'm going to do this right here. And then it's going to be 0. And then it's going to be 150 plus 270. So that's 420K in seven years, right? So literally 7 years. Okay. So 7 years. And yep. That's it. Best Friday study group ever, right? I am the Hulk. So, is it actually 10 p.m. right now? Holy balls. Okay. Wow. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I'm doing like, actually doing juice detox. And if you ever done a juice detox before, like your mind tends to have vivid dreams and you get tired like at the middle of the day. But that's probably why I can't believe it's 10 p.m. already. All right, well, that's it for today, folks. Have a great day. It's Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Remember, I don't give any medical, financial, accounting advice. Don't listen to me. I'm probably trying to scam you. Okay, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.